Hello, I'm Ajay Fry, and welcome to Mistakes Were Made, the podcast about the mistakes that we've made. I'm trying to avoid making mistakes while recording this, and I only allow myself one take for my introductions, and I leave mistakes in. I don't just ad-lib these either, which is why they're not full of ums and uhs like the interviews in the episodes. No, I am reading this off of a very small teleprompter in this hilariously tiny studio space that I've made for myself. I've got some wall-mounted lights up here on either side of me, and a USB microphone provided by my father to ensure that I can participate in the family business of voiceover and narration services for commercial, corporate, and of course e-learning clients. Yes, webvoicer.com can produce slick, professionally edited and produced audio for your projects, but I choose not to edit Mistakes Were Made because it's thematically appropriate and also because it saves me a whole lot of work. That said, I wouldn't have edited a thing out of this episode, though I do wish that I had noticed how loud my guest and I were recorded a little sooner than I did, but I've done my best to fix our levels so it is kind to your eardrums. Our chat was recorded live at Hal-Con, and if you've listened to the past two episodes of Mistakes Were Made, you'll know that Hal-Con is an annual fandom convention out in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which I first went to way back in 2010. Hal-Con has a very special place in my heart, as do the people out there, including my awesome guest for this episode. Now, I haven't got a sneak peek at the next episode or a hilarious fake commercial for you this week, so before I cut to the interview, if you can call it that, I'll give you the goodbye spiel in advance. So if you enjoy this episode, please leave a comment and a rating. Both really help with growing a digital audience, and so does telling your friends. So please feel free to share this episode wherever you feel like. I'm still making all kinds of mistakes, and if you notice one, like where I say baseball player instead of entertainer when referring to myself, or if you've got an idea for how I can improve the podcast, I'm really happy to hear it. Otherwise, please send me any and all comments and criticisms. I'm at AJ Fry on all the things. Douglas Adams wrote, "A common mistake that people make when trying to design something completely foolproof is to underestimate the ingenuity of complete fools." Welcome to Mistakes Were Made. I'm AJ Fry, and my guest is one of the most delightful, lovable, huggable, wonderful, complete fools I've ever met.
What?
He's Halifaxes'
I've been totally set up for this, AJ.
most famous personality. It's Fat Apollo.
Oh, I can't believe you did that to me.
Now,
why am I even here? If you're gonna start with that, I'm out of here.
now, I mean complete fool in the most
Lovable way.
honorable way, because you are a fool in the traditional sense of theater, right?
But
You wear pajamas and boxing gloves,
yeah, I do.
and you grab the moniker of an insult from a science fiction show and ran with it.
I do. It sounds like my first honeymoon. It was like a horrible, horrible experience to be here, and I can't believe the show's over already.
This.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Glad you all came out. What's with the fool business? What are you doing that for?
I thought it'd be a fun way to introduce you.
You know what? It is a fun way. But if I'm going to, I want the ASMR girl up here again to tell me a fool. That's what I want.
You're a
She was talking about her
Fat
market.
Apollo.
Oh, you keep going. That's her whole market right here, baby.
I should let you know, folks, that I did prepare questions for everyone else, but I literally wrote in my notes here, questions who needs them for Fat Apollo.
No, you know what?
I'm just going to let you go.
It is wonderful to have you here. Like, seriously, I mean, we met the
thank
first
you.
year of Hal-Con.
Yep.
Remember when I broke my finger?
Yes, I do. I was
Yeah,
going to
I
ask
broke-
you if you wanted to tell that story
yeah,
here.
I was literally, we were at the Lord Nelson, and it was Halloween night, and Teddy, AJ, and the boys were hanging out, and I went down to Men's Bar, the gay club, and I was like hanging out there having a bunch of drinks, hitting on everybody, and don't laugh because it wasn't working. And so I see this young girl, and this young girl is very intoxicated walking down Gottingen Street. And I was thinking, oh my God, you should not be out, young lady. And it was back when, remember when the Commons, there was a lot of attacks happening on the Commons and things like that. So I'm like, I got to take care of her. So I went over and I'm like, hi, I'm Fat Apollo. I have a daughter. I'm not a bad guy. I'm going to take you home. Where do you live? Anyway, so I start walking her home. And don't I trip and break my friggin' finger. Like, literally, remember that? I smashed, my compound fractured my finger. And she's like wearing my coat. They're loading me in the ambulance. I'm like, Give my coat back for me. I want my coat back. So anyway, she's okay because I broke my finger.
Good Samaritan.
Oh, well, you know what?
Just reward.
I do, yeah, just reward. I landed on a brick and literally put a big X in my finger. So I can't straighten my finger out anymore. See that?
Yeah.
Now I can't straighten it?
Yeah.
I'll show you later. Okay.
I don't know where to go from that, Fat Apollo.
All right, let's talk about mistakes.
Okay, I'm ready to talk
ready
about
for
them.
A big mistake?
Yeah.
What about you? What's your biggest mistake? No,
Ooh.
that's too. No, tell me your 12th worst mistake.
I don't have like a ranking system,
do.
but if you want to, like, I have some stories that I could like go into if you want. But you can ask me questions and
All
I
right,
can give you
let's
like.
ask some questions. Okay, what's the deal with your hair?
That's a good question.
Like seriously, when you were young,
Yeah.
you had friggin' awesome hair. Like, remember you had the
Well,
white...
are you talking about YTV days?
Yes. I'm talking about that blonde hairstyle you had.
Yes.
I had that friggin' poster in my room for months.
I don't remember this
And
poster.
I would look at this, and I would go, yeah, AJ, that's some hair. And now look at you. You're like a middle-aged idiot like me.
This is what happens.
What's the deal with you?
Well, you know, the hair was designed to like grab kids' attention.
So was it designed by a committee, or did you do it yourself?
No, that was mine.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. I used to work at Laser Quest in Ottawa.
Okay,
as a marshal.
What's Laser Quest?
You know, you go play laser tag, you run around in a dark maze, you know, try to shoot laser
Again,
beams.
sounds like my honeymoon.
Right.
But keep going. So
they have people who...
So you are in this maze.
I was like a lifeguard for laser tag.
With that friggin' hair.
Well, with more than that, because I thought I had like spiky hair to get the kids' attention. And also, I used to, working at Laser Quest, spray it with glow-in-the-dark spray. So when kids came into the, like, you know, what is it, black lighting room, I would just be this beacon. So if they needed my help, they would be able to find me. So
it was for their help, was it?
Well,
that was it. It was no vanity involved at all.
No.
It was just you.
It was a goofy hairstyle.
No, it was not. Listen, it was a paragon of hairstyle in the 1990s, and I will not hear you talk bad about it.
Okay.
Stop. Embrace the hair, AJ. Listen,
I
listen to me.
did when they hired me at YTV.
You're not getting it. You're not getting it. You're not understanding how important that hair was to some of us. I mean, look at me. I'm almost bald. Oh, it's my phone. Oh.
Who's calling you in the middle of a podcast?
I have no idea.
Oh, is that a text?
No, I think it's my daughter. Oh, it's my daughter, Harley.
Oh, is everything
well,
okay?
I'll talk to her later. Okay. But what the hell? Well, here, just a sec. Let's call her. See what she has to say.
Let's call
Are you
Harley.
ready for this?
Yeah, totally.
All right, it's going to be something stupid. Here we go. Ready? Hi. No. All right, 2 rings. Hello? It's our answering machine, jerk. Anyway. Stupid jerk. My God, I have 2 kids. 2 kids. And none of them will answer their friggin' phone, and I pay for their cell phone. You know, I'm turning them off. Right now, watch me.
You can do that?
Yeah,
you can turn off their phones?
Watch me. No more data. Done. Now you'll see how quick they call me. They'll call me in 5 seconds now. So, AJ, seriously though.
Yes.
Loved your hair.
Okay.
How did you ever get into television? Like, seriously, it's like a really interesting question.
It is. The honest answer is by design.
Oh, really?
My dad wanted me to be a blonde, blue-eyed entertainer named AJ, boy or girl.
Wow.
So I've just really been fulfilling the prophecy of my father, who wanted me to be a blonde, blue-eyed baseball player, and my brother to be a brown-haired, brown-eyed baseball player.
Is your brother a baseball player?
He sure was.
Was he really?
Yeah,
What did
he was.
play?
What did he play? He was a pitcher. He was like third base, shortstop sometimes.
Wow, he got to third base, better than you.
Well, we'll see what happens after the podcast.
Like I said, let me show you my finger. I get straightened out. That's worse. Hey, so what's my big mistake? I'll tell you what my big mistake was. My big mistake, and this is going to get deep for a second.
This is why I didn't write questions.
Shut up. Shut up.
Okay.
You have me on the show for a reason. This is it.
Yes.
Okay, so my big mistake was meeting this idiot. No, my big mistake. No, you know what? And this is a little deep, seriously. Like, I joined the Navy when I was 18 years old, became an officer, was a lieutenant commander. I got hit by a car, and that's why I'm not in the Navy anymore. But the biggest mistake I made, and being very honest right now, is that because I joined the Navy, I thought I had to conform to a certain lifestyle. Like gays were not allowed in the military. Like we used to hunt them down, kick them out. Like seriously, it was a major thing. And so I think that being in the forces, I adhered to a certain lifestyle that wasn't me, and I couldn't be honest about myself. And hey, I got married and I had kids, and probably shouldn't have, but that was the lifestyle that was indicated to me to be a senior officer in the military.
Right.
And so it's so interesting to me to see that now we've had gay marriages in the military. We've got gay couples in the marriages. We have transgender people in the military, which is incredible. But when I joined in the 80s, no way. You could not be queer. And if you were queer, they hunted you down and they kicked you out. That was literally, we had a whole division of the CSIS, which was basically hunting down queers and kicking them out. They'd go undercover, they tried to trick you. And so it was always keeping a part of yourself hidden that wasn't really true about yourself. And I think it's amazing now that we don't have to do that. Because I look back on my life and think, how was my life? Oh, thank you. And I'm totally queer if anybody wants to go out. So, but
well,
I mean,
you say that with such confidence now.
Yeah.
When you were originally joining, was it ever a tickle in the back of your mind?
Oh,
or
yeah,
when
I totally knew it. I totally knew I shouldn't be doing this. And it was really strange because you knew who was queer in the forces. And there were bases in like the military, like Shelburne. Shelburne here in Nova Scotia was known as a queer base. And it was where there was a lesbian commander, and she had all these lesbian working for her because it was safe for them, and they could be there and be safe in the military. And I remember we brought a ship in. I was the executive officer of a ship, and the captain was like a goofus, like big dope head. And he, not dope, but idiot.
Right.
He's like, okay, McCluskey, I want you to set up a dance between the women and the guys on the ship. I'm like, sir, we're going to Shelburne. And he goes, yeah, well, set up a dance. I'm like, no, they are not going to be interested in dancing with the guys. And we all knew it, but the captain didn't. So we go to this bar, and it's all the women from Shelburne on one side and all the guys from the ship on the other. And there was no intermixing whatsoever. And I'm like, do you see what's going on here, sir? They are not interested in us. But it was very well known that you would get what were called queen bees, where they would have areas like these listening stations in Nanoose and Shelburne and all these places where they could bring all the women in and be safe, where they didn't have to be challenged about, and they could have their relationships, which is awesome, right? But it was funny because the same thing didn't exist with guys. Like women, you could be gay in the military as a woman and sort of survive. But if you were gay as a guy, you couldn't. Like they would come and get you. But as a woman, you could kind of make your way through because there were other people watching out for you. But there were no senior gay guys, right? There were senior lesbians who could look out for each other, and it was almost like a recognized thing that they were very parts of the trades that were accepted by them. But guys, no, ooh, you're a gay guy, you are out. Yeah. So,
are you at all interested in like rejoining the ranks in order to provide a better, like a safer experience?
I'm all in there, baby. It was so funny because the last Hal-Con, I made a joke at the end of Hal-Con. I said, hey, I'm on every site that ends in R, Grindr, Tinder, Growler, and my phone friggin' exploded. And I'm like, whoa, mama, I got to do this more often. But anyway, it was just kind of a weird thing. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get so deep about it, but it is something.
No, it's wonderful to share this, and I appreciate that you are. It's not something that, of course, I've never even considered joining the military.
Yeah.
But
it's much more open. I mean, the military was, I joined when I was 18. I was a diesel mechanic, and then I became a officer, and I was, like I said, I was a lieutenant commander by 29, so I was a very young senior officer. But then, like I said, I got in a car accident, got hit by a drunk driver, and that was it. I wasn't in anymore. So it's weird because all my friends now are retiring and they're on full pension. They're on their, and me, not me.
No.
And it's weird because I trained the first female officers because I've got a couple of degrees. One degree was in philosophy with a minor in Marxism. Another degree was commerce with a minor in women's studies, and then international MBA. And it was so funny. So when we brought the female officers in, they're like, shit, we need someone to train female officers. McCluskey, he's got women's studies. I'm like, what? And they threw me in. I'm like, hi, I'm in charge now. Right? So they put me in charge of training the female officers who were spectacularly good. Like, seriously.
Well, of course, they would
one of them is now Commodore Jose Swinnard, who is the commander of one of the fleets, and she was incredible. But it was funny because I remember there was another, in the second class I trained, there was this really beautiful officer. I mean, she was stunning. Like, you know what I mean? Model stunning. And I remember that while we were doing the training, she was getting by on her looks. So she was playing up how good she looked to the captain. And I remember having a talk with her one night where I took her into this sounds weird now, but I took her into my cabin and I said, I'm going to fail you. I'm failing you. She goes, what do you mean you're going to fail me? I said, I'm going to fail you. You're not going to be a naval officer. And she goes, well, that's not fair. The captain thinks I'm doing great. And I said, yeah, because you're playing on your looks. And you can't do that because every woman who comes after you is going to have to put up with what you did. So I said to her, I said, you are not passing. And so the next day I said, you're so smart. Come on, you can do this job. And so anyway, so she turned herself around and she was so good. And she was a fantastic officer. And it was so funny because her husband was a failed Mars officer, naval officer. Anyway, and he was a jerk. He was like a jerk. Anyway, so she graduated. We're having a bunch of beers at the graduation ceremony. I'm like, hey, you know what, Shelly, you're amazing. You did so great. And so anyway, up comes the husband in the car, and the husband comes up and goes, why are you so late? And I'm like, tell him what you think, tell him what you think. And she's like, shut up, bitch. Like that, right? And I said, you're the boss of him now. Anyway, they got divorced 2 months later. I'm like, you're the boss, Shelly. Don't let him do that to you. Wow, this is a far-ranging interview.
Yeah. Did you want me to ask a question?
Yeah, ask me a question there, AJ. Let's go. Let's do it.
Well,
42. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm being a jerk.
Well, how did Fat Apollo come to be? I mean, you've obviously had the personality that you have for a long time, but how did you package it?
God. What are you pointing at? Hi. Fat Apollo came about because Jen Lamb and her no-good husband, who's a jerk, at the back of the room. It was funny because we started Geeks versus Nerds, that show, about the same time as Hal-Con started being planned. And I met, J&T, as I call them, and we kind of hit it off, and we were good friends. And then it was so funny because we were sitting there one night, and I said, do you know what? I'm going to be famous. I'm going to make myself famous. So the three of us worked on it, and basically, yeah, it happened. I'm famous. And, I can't announce something. I was going to announce something. I can't until November 7th. I won another award.
Ooh.
But I can't say it out loud. So, but it was kind of weird because the whole Fat Apollo thing, AJ, came around because with the new Battlestar Galactica, there's that scene where Jamie Bamber gets really fat. Yeah. Right? And he's like, don't let me get that fat again. But I took the name Fat Apollo because I wanted to take the power away from calling someone fat. And that was something that was important to me, is that I would be online, and I'd be commenting on something on Reddit, garbage site, and someone would say, like, oh, you're a big fat ass. I'm like, yeah, it's in my name. So what's your next insult? And it took away a lot of the power, same way that, people have taken on queer or faggot or any of those words, that if you take those words back to the community, someone can't hurt you with them. And that's why I took Fat Apollo, because you're going to call me fat ass? Yeah, I'm a fat ass. Hey, good for you. I just gave the finger to everybody in the room. All right, so, But that's the way I look at it, is that, you take that word back and you take away the ability for someone to hurt you with it. Right? And that's the same with like queer and faggot. Sorry to keep using those words. But you take those words back from people that are bigots and horrible people, and they can't hurt you with them. Because then you just say, well, what are you going to say to me now? Come on, bring it on. Oh, you're losing your hair. Yeah, I know that too. That's in my next shirt. Fat, bald Apollo, right?
Do you have any aspirations for performance? I mean, you do your Storytime with Fat Apollo coming up next in this very room.
In this very room. Wait, what's the thumbs down for? Oh, I thought you were giving me thumbs down. I'm like, what the?
But I mean, like, you know, you are so delightful, and I mean, I don't know how many people my wife and I have told about the awesomeness that is Fat Apollo, and you know,
you and your aprons. I gave you 2 aprons.
Yeah. And pillowcases and belt buckles. Oh, I forgot to wear it. I even brought my Fat Apollo belt buckle.
The pillowcases was hilarious. Remember the
That was wonderful.
Remember the kissy pillows?
Of course, can't forget them.
Oh my God, that was so funny. Because I sent those to Mackenzie Westmore too. So she has, you know, from Face Off.
Yeah.
Her and I
you didn't send her my pillow.
Yeah. Her and I are friends.
Yeah, but you sent her, like, did she do the same campaign and you sent a follow-up pillow with her?
No, I sent both of our pillows.
That's so weird.
Yeah. I sent her our pillows.
All right.
And I said, this is my buddy AJ and I. We're kissing. Look. Because she was pretending to be Glenn Hendricks. And then I sent her the 2, like I reordered them from, what do you call it, Arts Cow. And I just reordered the same 2 pillowcases. And I said, this is my buddy AJ and I. And we got the big red lipstick on and the glasses. So. Yeah, no, I don't really, to tell you the truth. I mean, who would have thought, you know, in the early years of the 20th century, Eyes from Mars would look, oh, that's War of the Worlds. Who, you know, like seriously, I mean, you probably think yourself, like, how did you end up here? Do you know what I mean? Don't you kind of shake your head once in a while and go, what the frig is this?
A lot of times with things that I've done. Not this. I mean, I know why I'm back here, but, you know, I've been in places in my life where it's just like, how the heck did this happen?
Yeah, well, I've had a couple major career changes. You know, I look at, you know, I was in the military and then I became a private school principal. I ran a bunch of schools. And then, you know, I went on and became, you know, I work with an insurance company now. And, you know, and I end up in Cardiff every year. And so every once in a while you just shake your head and go, what the frig happened to me, man? You know what I mean? Like nothing was planned. I mean, I don't think any of us, I think all of us might think you have your life planned. I mean, my life was, you know, this year I would be retired. I have a full pension from the military, and I'd be living the life of Riley, drunk as fuck, sitting on the ferry, getting arrested by the cops, right? But now I'm not rich as fuck, but I'm still getting arrested by the cops on the ferry. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, it's so weird. You know, when I look at, you know, my kids, you know, I have, you know, Harley, who I got to call again because she's not a jerk. She's a good person. But, you know, she's going through an awful lot in her life, and we've had some real big challenges in the last 2 years with her, and I'm not really going to share them, but they've been pretty massive. Yeah. And, you know, my other daughter's at Acadia, and, you know, that's her. She's probably going to come back to SMU now and do criminology. So I said, thank God you're going to be a cop so you can keep Daddy out of jail. That's all I care about, right? So, but, you know, it's so funny because one of my exes is a cop. So it's like the weirdest world. But, yeah, I don't know. AJ, I really don't have any plans. Like, I don't know. You know, if I get through tomorrow, I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, we all, you know, I'm very open about mental health issues. And, you know, with me, you know, I've got some stuff going on. And I think, you know, any day I'm alive is a good day. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just make it through the next day. I get, you know, with the forces, I got some PTSD. I got some other things. And, you know, I'm not really going to go into it here. But it's, you know, any day that you're alive and any day you're contributing to society and any day you're a positive influence for anybody else is like a really good day. Really? That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't clap. Don't clap.
Looking around this room, I'm sure everyone's feeling the same way that I am, that you have given us so many great days. So thank you very much, Fat Apollo. Mistakes were made, everyone. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
Come here. Oh, my foot's asleep.
Oh, no.
Or is it my penis? Oh, sorry.